My influences were broad. I actually originally started playing bass. I was a guitar player before I was a bass player, and I originally started playing bass because I heard a bass player called Skuli Sørensen on an Alan Holdsworth album years ago called Hard Hat Area, and the track, if anybody wants to check it out, is a low level, high stakes, and it's still to this day the best bass solo I've ever heard in my life. Okay, so I heard Skuli playing that, and just really after I heard that, and I was working for a bass luthier at the time as well, so it was kind of, the time was right. I was, I had the right guys around me, and really just fell in love with the bass. And then from that, weirdly, years later, ended up like meeting Skuli Sørensen, going to his flat in New York and studying with him, and but that's essentially how I got started. But main influences right across the board, everybody from James Jamerson through to Will Lee, Marcus Miller, Gary Willis, Matt Garrison, huge, just everybody. I'm really into Steve Jenkins at the minute. Bit of a plug there as well, because Steve Jenkins is now doing live seminars in the academy. So, but apart from that, he's a real great player. Matt Garrison, I always love his playing. Hadrian Farode, obviously, just like ferocious, but also like the groove guys as well. I really love Hubert Eves from the Erykah Badu band. I know that's from many years ago. Well, not many years ago, but a good sort of like 10, 15 years ago. But he's great. And then the UK guys like Paul Turner's really doing it for me, who plays with Jamiroquai. There's a ton of guys. Cody Wright is a great cat to check out. He's playing with a pick. He's really, really fantastic player. He's teaching the academy now as well. Boom! But yeah, there's a ton of great players that I'm loving at the minute. That's really what's going on with ScottsBassLessons, because we've got the academy, which is essentially a resource an educational resource for bass players, but it's really like nothing else now. It's kind of transformed into this, into something that's never really existed in the world ever, which is super cool, guys. Because not only is there full step-by-step courses and interviews and an amazing community, the biggest, arguably, educational online-based community in the world. I think we're just coming up to 10,000 members now. But we've also got live workshops every week, live seminars, live streamed seminars, so people can actually, sit on their couch eating, what would you eat? I would eat probably chocolate brownies. So, so people can sit, in the comfort of their own home and watch some of the best bass educators in the world every week, like Anthony Wellington, Todd Johnson, Steve Lawson, Danny Mo Morris, who's one of the heads of bass education over in Berklee College of Music. So, and there's not just those guys, we've got sort of I think there's 15 guys rotating doing these seminars every week. And we also do have like live Q&A sessions. And the gag is with the live seminars, is because they're live and we use the technology we're using, the audience get to ask them questions. So normally, for the first half of the seminar, they'll focus on a specific topic like walking bass or creating bass lines or technology we've had and how to record your bass. And then at the end of that, whatever their presentation is on, at the end of it, the audience can ask them questions in real time, live. So it's really the first time ever in the history of the world that really a global audience has been able to interact with with some of the best bass educators in the world. There's generally a few questions that people ask, and it's the same ones. So for instance, it's like simple things like how to make a bass line. Like, what are the ingredients that that people need to know? What are the mental ingredients that people need to know to actually create bass lines? Because as bass players, we're in this kind of no man's land sometimes. Okay, we play root notes, and the rest of the band play chords, but if we want to break free of those root notes, what the heck do we play? And essentially we do exactly what the rest of the band play. We play chords, but instead of playing it all at once, we we outline the chord using chord tones and scales and just using the same information that the rest of the band are using, but we're playing linear lines instead of all the notes at the same time. So building bass lines is one of them. Modes, theory, harmony, what is that? Scales. Okay, everybody knows, I need to know a scale. What the heck do I do with it? Loads of people are like, I understand that I need to, everybody keeps telling me I need to learn scales, but why? What are we using them for? And obviously, we're using them to create bass lines, but people have a huge disconnect with the actual learning of that material and actually putting it into action. So that's another one of the, real common questions that we get. And the other ones really range from stylistically, what to play in an R&B setting, what to play in a jazz setting, how to get into different styles of music. And really, the big question is how to push your bass playing to the next level. How to, for guys that have been stuck playing the same old stuff and wanting to, get better, and they're practicing, but they're not seeing any movement really in their bass playing, they're not sort of like seeing any huge improvement or anything like that. Why is that, and how can they actually break through that and get to that next level in the bass playing? From me putting videos on YouTube, obviously that's only part of what I do. So unfortunately for a lot of bass players, they just get stuck in YouTube, stuck in YouTube mode and go from video to video to video and then soak up all the information and don't actually put that into action, which is a huge issue. For anybody that joins the academy at ScottsBassLessons, one of the big things that I'm always ramming down people's throats is, you've got to use this in context. Otherwise, you're not going to see it actually. It's one thing sitting at home and just practicing something over and over, but you're never really going to see any real benefit from it in real terms until you get in a band and actually use it and then have that light bulb moment when you think, all this stuff that I'm actually working on actually works. It's not rocket science, but people do get stuck in that, that YouTube mentality. And unfortunately as well, with the amount of YouTube videos, not just mine, even though I am trying to sort of take over YouTube, there's just sometimes too much stuff. So people need interaction with people to help put them on the right track and show them exactly what they need to work on, because what I need to work on might be different to what somebody else needs to work on, obviously, and and we're all different, which is why the academy over at ScottsBassLessons is structured in a way that people can interact with bass educators and actually get the advice that they need. I think internet learning in general is speeding up the learning curve, but just going back to what we were saying before, I think even though I'm seeing people's understanding of what they're supposed to do as bass players in terms of creating bass lines and using scales and chord tones, their understanding is really there. And it's really it's speeding up. People are actually sort of like, the light bulbs going off, and they understand exactly what they should be doing as bass players to create bass lines. And then obviously it's that next step. It's using it in a real experience that's going to make the big difference. So hopefully people are getting into real gigging situations and using this stuff. How important is gear? Gear is not very important. Gear is not very important. It's important to have a bass that's that's not going to cause you physical injury. So maybe not too heavy. The action isn't too high. It plays in tune, don't get me wrong, I really love gear. I'm an absolute bass nerd, and I spend far too much time perving on, different basses and what I want. And, but how important is it to anybody's progression as a musician? None, although with the caveat that an instrument can really inspire you to pick up the bass and want to play it. So in that sense, it's actually really important. I can remember when I was a kid, I can remember getting a guitar and that guitar, because it was so good and felt so good, I just wanted to play it for hours and hours every day. So really, in terms of it helping me, get to that next level in my playing, physically, maybe not so much, because you could play a Squire bass, or a Squire guitar, it's going to be fine. But inspirationally, maybe, bass gear really kind of sort of, you know, it could inspire you to want to play more. So in terms of that, it does make a big difference. My P bass, unfortunately for everybody, it's a fake. It's a heavy relic. It's a 59 reissue heavy relic. But I, you know, people do get sort of like, oh, they're down on heavy relics or down on relic basses. Man, they're just like ripped jeans. You know. They just feel a bit comfier. So I really like the way they feel. Again, actually, this is a relic as well, and you know, it doesn't bother me at all that it's not real. It's just, you know, that it hasn't. It just feels great to play, and it's just, I don't know. Sounds beautiful. But yeah, so that's the P bass.